What happens when Hollywood's most charismatic comeback story meets late night television's sharpest wit, and neither one is willing to back down? The episode of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, featuring Robert Downey Jr., was supposed to be just another promotional stop, an opportunity for Downey to charm audiences while plugging his latest project. Instead, it turned into the most explosive interview in recent memory, a verbal chess match that escalated into something nobody saw coming. Before we dive into this shocking confrontation, make sure to hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below, telling us which celebrity interview moment caught you most off guard. Trust me, you won't want to miss a single detail of what went down in that studio. The evening started like any other taping. Colbert's audience was buzzing with anticipation, knowing they were about to witness the man who brought Tony Stark to life in conversation with one of comedy's most incisive minds. Downey walked onto the stage with his trademark swagger, confident, charming, with that familiar smile that had charmed millions worldwide. He settled into the guest chair with practiced ease, adjusting his perfectly tailored jacket as the applause died down. Colbert opened with his usual playful energy, but there was something different in his demeanor that night. Perhaps the weight of recent industry controversies, or a sense that he could dig deeper than the typical promotional fluff. Whatever the reason, the host came prepared for more than just casual banter. The first few minutes proceeded normally. They discussed Downey's latest film, touched on his journey from troubled actor to Marvel superstar, the usual talking points. The audience laughed, and everything seemed to flow according to script. However, Colbert's questions carried an edge, a subtle probing that suggested he wasn't content with rehearsed answers and polished anecdotes. Downey navigated the early questions with his characteristic wit and deflection, cracking jokes about his past, making self-deprecating comments about his ego, and delivering quotable sound bites perfect for social media. But then Colbert shifted gears. He leaned forward slightly, his expression growing more serious as he broached a sensitive topic. The question hung in the air, and the studio's energy shifted palpably. The interview moved from light-hearted to tense as Colbert explored issues of responsibility and influence in Hollywood, touching on themes of privilege, accountability, and the cultural impact of celebrities. Downey's responses grew more guarded. His trademark charm gave way to visible tension. The easy rapport between host and guest began to crack as Colbert pressed harder, refusing to accept surface-level answers. The turning point came when Colbert brought up specific incidents from Downey's past, not just his documented struggles with addiction, but deeper questions about choices, consequences, and whether he had truly achieved accountability. The tone remained professional, but the intent was unmistakable. Both men recognized they had entered dangerous territory. Downey's body language shifted dramatically. The relaxed posture disappeared, replaced by defensiveness. His responses became shorter, more clipped, and the conversation ground to a halt. The audience sensed the shift immediately. The laughter faded, replaced by uncomfortable silence. Camera operators adjusted their positions, sensing that something significant was unfolding. Colbert, to his credit, didn't back down. If anything, he seemed energized by the resistance, pushing into topics about Downey's current positions, public statements, and the gap between his public persona and private realities. The verbal sparring intensified, with both men operating at the top of their game. Colbert's years of political satire and sharp commentary colliding with Downey's Hollywood masterfulness in public relations. As the questions became more pointed, Downey, known for his quick wit and ability to deflect, found himself genuinely challenged. Caught off guard by the confrontation, his usual arsenal of charm and humor wasn't enough to diffuse the mounting tension. The situation became increasingly volatile. Both men aware of their respective strengths, refused to yield. Colbert explored themes of privilege, responsibility, and authenticity with surgical precision, while Downey struggled to maintain his composure under what felt like an assault. The careful balance of a typical late-night interview collapsed entirely, replaced by something raw and unpredictable. As the tension reached a breaking point, neither man was willing to give ground. Colbert committed to his line of questioning, recognizing that this was a rare moment of genuine significance. Downey, meanwhile, was trapped, unable to walk away from the conversation, but also unable to provide answers that satisfied the host's relentless inquiry. The stage was set for an explosion that would leave everyone in the studio fundamentally changed. The climax arrived with a question that cut deeper than anything before, about the difference between public redemption and private reckoning. Colbert wanted to know if Downey believed success could erase past mistakes, or if it merely provided a platform to avoid accountability. Downey's reaction was immediate and visceral. His face flushed, his jaw tightened, and for the first time, his famed composure cracked. He leaned forward, pointing directly at Colbert, his voice rising as he accused the host of ambushing him under the guise of entertainment. His words were fast, angry, and raw, each sentence more heated than the last. The audience sat in stunned silence as Downey's voice echoed through the studio. He demanded to know what gave Colbert the right to judge his life and morality for the entertainment of millions. His words carried the weight of years of carefully controlled public relations finally spilling over. Colbert, in turn, didn't flinch. If anything, he seemed to welcome this moment of authenticity, responding that accountability wasn't about judgment but honesty. He challenged Downey to explain how one moves from destruction to inspiration without confronting the wreckage left behind. The exchange escalated further. Downey accused Colbert of exploiting his past struggles for entertainment, questioning whether the host treated all guests so cruelly or if he reserved this cruelty for those who had overcome adversity. Colbert shot back, emphasizing that public figures profiting from their redemption stories should be prepared to discuss them honestly, not just when it suited their promotional needs. The verbal warfare intensified. Both men committed to their perspectives, and the interview drifted far from its original scope. Downey accused Colbert of moral grandstanding, of using his platform to tear down instead of uplift. He questioned whether the host had ever faced real consequences himself. Colbert countered, arguing that accountability and self-reflection are forms of creation, building better versions of ourselves, and suggested that Downey's discomfort stemmed from being asked to engage in that process publicly. The studio remained tense, unsure whether to intervene or simply witness history in the making. The situation reached its peak when Downey, visibly angry, accused Colbert of hiding behind his desk and writing staff to launch personal attacks. He demanded to know if this was entertainment or therapy, and who appointed Colbert as his moral judge. The host's response was calm but devastating. He stated that the questions weren't therapy but journalism, and that public figures who transform their lives should expect honest discussion. He implied that Downey's refusal to answer revealed a reluctance to engage with the truth. This final exchange pushed Downey beyond his limit. His voice dropped to a dangerous whisper, and he told Colbert he had crossed a line, mistakenly believing this was about accountability, only to find it was about public humiliation. He accused Colbert of using his platform to settle scores at the expense of human dignity. The tension in the studio was palpable. Audience members shifted uncomfortably. Crew members exchanged nervous glances. What had begun as a standard celebrity interview had become a raw, unpredictable confrontation between two powerful personalities with conflicting views on responsibility and redemption. Colbert, sensing that he had perhaps gone too far, tried one last time to defuse the situation. He suggested taking a commercial break, hoping to reset and find a more constructive path forward. But Downey, pushed past his limit, was no longer receptive. He began pacing behind his chair, movements sharp and agitated, processing the moment. He accused Colbert of betrayal, of violating the trust between interviewer and subject. Coming on in good faith, Downey had expected challenging but fair questions, not a public dissection of his character. He cut off Colbert's attempts to explain that his questions were about honesty and accountability, dismissing them with a gesture that was both dismissive and final. The actor then turned to face the camera directly, addressing the audience with quiet intensity. His words carried more weight than any shouting, about the difference between earning and having redemption granted, about the courage needed to rebuild a life in the public eye. He emphasized that the audience deserved more than entertainment that exploits human frailty, and called for honesty in media about the true nature of accountability. With dignity and purpose, Downey walked off the stage, nodding to crew members as he passed. His departure was quiet but powerful, leaving a silence that seemed to echo throughout the studio. Colbert sat behind his desk, frozen, unable to process what just transpired. The cameras kept rolling, capturing the stunned silence and the crowd's unsettled whispers. Everyone knew this was a moment unlike any other, an unprecedented breakdown of the boundaries between entertainment and genuine human emotion. In the days that followed, the interview would be dissected frame by frame, with experts debating the ethics of the exchange, celebrity accountability, and the responsibilities of public figures. But for those present, what they would remember most was the raw power of two strong personalities colliding with such force that something fundamental was broken in the process. The lingering question was whether what they witnessed was genuine journalism pushing boundaries or an exploitative spectacle crossing into darker territory. Like many truths revealed under pressure, the answer proved to be far more complicated than anyone expected. So, what do you think? Did Stephen Colbert cross a line that night, or was Robert Downey Jr. simply unable to handle the tough questions that come with celebrity status? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more shocking celebrity moments you won't see anywhere else.